Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my May TBR and welcome to yet another month of the TBR jar helping me pick out my reads. I am so excited for this upcoming month, both for reading and just in general. May has always been one of my favorite months. I feel like here especially the weather is just perfect. It's sunny and warm but not so hot to where it's like miserable to be outside. Summer is definitely on the horizon, which excites me because that is my favorite season ever. But while it is still spring, I did haul quite a few books that feel very springtime coded to me recently. So the TBR cart is currently stacked. I definitely want to incorporate a lot of the books that I recently hauled into this month's TBR. And then in other exciting news, I have a fun trip to the UK planned at the end of May. So I want to keep in mind books I might bring with me on my trip. We're doing a lot of Jane Austen related things while we're there. So I do have a Jane Austen book on the cart that I want to try and add this month to my TBR as well. So with that, let's jump right into pulling prompts. I'm planning on pulling out 6 prompts today. I feel like that is an attainable number for me and still a good goal for me to try to reach. So let's get right into it. Also want to throw out there that if you ever have any ideas for a fun prompt for me to add to my jar, please comment it below. I'm always looking for suggestions. Prompt number 1. I've gotten this one before and I love it. A book that a character from the last book you read would read. This morning I just finished Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. It reminded me so much of Normal People. We have our main character Adelaide who's in this like toxic situationship with a guy named Rory. I really loved Adelaide's character. I didn't personally connect with her that much, but I really enjoyed reading about her and following her. Her personality is kind of hard to pinpoint. She's definitely going through a lot and she really grows throughout the book and throughout the course of this relationship. I would say she's a very caring person. She's a person with a lot of love to give. I feel like Adelaide was a very dependable person. She's definitely someone who I would want as a friend because she was a very good friend to others. But I think I'm gonna have to do some like digging to figure out what characters kind of remind me of Adelaide. Emma of 83rd Street. I know this is like a modern day retelling of Emma by Jane Austen, so very fitting for the vibes of my trip coming up this month. And I don't know too much about the story of Emma other than she is like a matchmaker, so I feel like she's trying to help everyone else around her, oftentimes before she helps herself, and that sounds very reminiscent of Adelaide. I'm not 100% sure if I'm correct, but I'm gonna read the back and see if Emma's vibe sounds similar to Adelaide's. So Emma meets another girl in the book named Nadine. It says she views her as not only a potential new friend but as a new project. That definitely fits Adelaide's vibe because she's very much an I can fix you kind of person. I don't know if that's what's going to transpire between Emma and Nadine, but potentially it sounds like it could be there. And it sounds like she has a little bit of a complicated relationship with her neighbor named George. The story sounds like it's going to be a little more uplifting and positive compared to Adelaide, which I'm happy about because Adelaide was a very realistic but sad read at times. But Emma's character reminds me of Adelaide, so I'm definitely keeping this as an option. We have Great Big Beautiful Life, Emily Henry's latest release that I definitely want to read this upcoming month. I heard someone on TikTok call this Great BBL. I'm like, I'm referring to this book as that from here on out. That is so great. But I know this book is kind of like our rivals to lovers story with more of a focus on this other plot, and the romance is more a subplot in the book. But I know both our characters are like writers and they're a bit bookish, I think, which is definitely Adelaide's vibe. Alice Scott is an eternal optimist still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize winning human thundercloud. They're both on balmy little Crescent Island for the same reasons, to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years. And then Margaret invites them both for a trial period and she's gonna pick who writes her story. Then it says Alice genuinely likes people, which means people usually like Alice. I feel like Alice's character does kind of give me the same vibe as Adelaide because she's very ambitious. She likes people like her. She's very bubbly. That was very much Adelaide. Definitely getting similar vibes, so we're gonna put this one in the stack as well. The Lost Ticket is definitely one I wanted to read in May to maybe bring with me on my trip or read right before, because if this isn't giving London vibes, I don't know what is. But I know this book is about a group of people coming together to help this man, and so I feel like our main character, aside from the man they're all helping, would be like a helper type of character, which definitely was Adelaide as well. So our female main character in this book is a girl named Libby, and they meet this man named Frank on this double-decker bus in London. It says she arrives to London brokenhearted. They meet Frank. Frank tells him the story of when he met a young woman on the bus in 1962. He got her number for a date but then lost the number, so they're trying to help reconnect him with this woman, which is so sweet. It sounds like a heartwarming story. And again, I feel like Libby is playing matchmaker a little bit. She's trying to help someone. Definitely fits the vibe of Adelaide as well. We're finding more options than I thought we might. I just realized I've kind of been interpreting this prompt wrong. I've been trying to find characters that feel like Adelaide, but the prompt is books that Adelaide would read. And I know The Bell Jar was mentioned as a book that Adelaide has on her shelf. Hamnet's kind of sticking out to me because it's mentioned that she loves Shakespeare, and Hamnet is a book following Shakespeare's son. This book definitely intimidates me. It's outside of my comfort zone, but I do think it's a book Adelaide would read. She's very ambitious and very bookish, and this would fit the vibe of my upcoming trip. So I'm gonna add this as an option. I also do think Adelaide probably would read a Jane Austen. I don't know completely what this book is about, but I feel like Adelaide is such a hopeless romantic that Jane Austen would be right up her alley, so I'm gonna add Persuasion to the stack as well. One book that's been on my cart for a while that I never gravitate towards is Two Doors Away. I got this at a book warehouse sale and I've never heard anyone talk about it. It just kind of caught my eye. It looks cute. There's a cat on the cover and I thought the back sounded interesting. So this book is about these two people, Eric and Steph, and they live like 2 doors away from each other, obviously based on the title. And the person in between them plays piano and they would always hear the piano, and now they don't hear the piano anymore, so they end up meeting, I think, based on their mutual concern for why whoever's playing the piano stopped. And I feel like this is a book Adelaide would definitely pick up because she has this thing where she feels like people don't meet by chance. They come into your life exactly when you need them and everything is connected, and she just feels like everything has a purpose and a reason. And she's definitely like a hopeless romantic, like I mentioned, so I feel like this would be a book she would pick too. I think I'm gonna stop there because we have some good options. I will say Two Doors Away, Persuasion, and Hamnet fit the prompt when I interpret it as books Adelaide would read, but then the other 3 work as books that feel like a main character similar to Adelaide, although I do feel like she would read these books too. I don't know, because Adelaide is set in London and this book takes place in London, and it just seems like a really heartwarming story that I think Adelaide would really like. It's also about like chance and people being connected, so I feel like this would fit the prompt being interpreted both ways. Great Big Beautiful Life I really want to read this month, but I don't feel it fits the prompt as well as some of the other books. I'm going to put Emma of 83rd Street back too. I feel like Emma reminds me of Adelaide, but I don't know if Adelaide would pick up this book. I feel like these books fall into 2 categories, contemporary and more like classic historical vibes, which I feel like Adelaide definitely reads both. Both are mentioned in the book. I think I'm gonna go with The Lost Ticket though. This book feels very Adelaide coded. Like I mentioned, we have our main character Libby. It says she comes to London brokenhearted. One day she's on a double-decker bus and meets an older man who tells her the story of back in the day when he met this beautiful young woman, got her number, they were gonna go on a date, but then he lost her number and then never saw her again. So everyone on the bus is trying to help him find this woman and get them reunited. So it just sounds like, again, what Adelaide believes in, like how everyone is connected, how everyone comes into each other's lives at the perfect time. So I can't wait to see how this plays out, if they end up finding this woman, getting track of her, and what happens if and when they do. And I feel like it's going to be a journey of self-discovery for our main character Libby as well. I don't know if she's going to have a romance of her own in here, or if this is going to be more just like general fiction, but it sounds really heartwarming and uplifting and perfect London vibes for my trip. Okay, prompt number 2 is a genre you don't usually read. I could definitely do a classic for this one, so I'm gonna pull Persuasion by Jane Austen again. I could do a more historical fiction book, pull Hamnet again. Both of these I feel fit the England vibes that I'm going for. Definitely read plenty of romance, which is a lot of what I'm seeing. I think I'm gonna stick with these 2 as my options. Persuasion, don't know a lot about. I think it's a romance. It says there could have been no 2 hearts so open, no taste so similar, No feelings so in unison. And I'm definitely intimidated by Jane Austen, just like the language and the fact that it's a classic. A little hard to wrap my head around sometimes and understand, and I feel like it takes me a while to get through these kind of books. Same thing with Hamnet. I'm very intimidated by Shakespeare, but I've heard wonderful things about this book, and I feel like the writing style will feel a little less daunting because it was written in modern day, even though it's a historical fiction. Of the two, I think I'm gonna pick Persuasion by Jane Austen. After reading the back, it says, Jane Austen's last completed novel and her most optimistic and romantic work, which really excites me. I don't know why, for some reason I thought this might be a little more sad in tone, but I'm glad that it's more uplifting based on what the back says. And I love this cover. The fact that it's a more contemporary looking cover, even though they're dressed in Regency era clothes, makes it a little less daunting for some reason. Also, when I'm in the UK, we're doing a day trip to Bath, which is where this book is set and where Jane Austen lived for a bit of time during her life. So very, very excited to read this one before we actually go to where this book was set. I feel like it's going to be so fitting. Prompt number 3 is a book with flowers on the cover. This is the perfect prompt for the springtime. We have Forget Me Not, which is literally a flower, and there's flowers all over the cover. This book is about a florist, and I've heard that flowers are a very central part of the story. I know she is a wedding planner and he's a florist. They had a previous encounter that wasn't good, and now they have to come back together to work on this really high profile wedding. So they have to be cordial and like set aside their differences, of course. And I've heard really great things about this, so I feel like this would be the perfect book to read during the springtime. So this obviously fits the prompt so well, but I know I have other books with flowers on the cover too, so I'm gonna keep my options open. Picking Daisies on Sundays. Literally, again, flowers on the cover, in the title. Don't know much about this book, but I think it is childhood friends to lovers. It might be YA. It seems like it's going to be a fast, easy read because the text and the spacing is really big. So I feel like if I'm feeling slumpy, this could be a good one to help pull me out, maybe like in between reading a classic. This is definitely a good option to add as well. Ready or Not is another book that I recently hauled for the springtime, honestly solely because of the cover and the flowers on it. So I feel like this one fits the prompt well, although I don't know much about it. All I know about this book is that it's accidental pregnancy trope, and I've heard great things, so I'll add this one to our options. We could go back to Emma of 83rd Street. I would say those are flowers, right? And like the greenery around her house. Again, this is a modern day retelling of Jane Austen's Emma. It's set in New York. I think it's going to be very fun, and it fits the Jane Austen vibes that I'm looking for the month of May. So I might cut off my search there because we have some good options, and I don't think I have too many more books with flowers on the cover. I really would be happy picking any of these books. I want to read all of them in May, but gonna be hard to find just one to pick for this prompt. I think I'm gonna go with Emma of 83rd Street. Of the 4, this was definitely the one calling to me the most and that I was the most excited about. I think because of the Jane Austen vibes, it's gonna be the perfect way for me to get a Jane Austen story that doesn't intimidate me because it's more contemporary and modern. So I'm excited for that, and on the back it says a friends to lovers story, which is my favorite trope, so I cannot wait. Okay, my camera battery light was flashing, so we're back with a fresh battery, and I'm ready to pick prompt number 4, which is gonna be a book with a character who has the same name as someone you know in real life. We could go back to Great BBL because our female main character's name is Alice, and I do know an Alice. Definitely want to read this in May, no matter what. If you know me and Emily Henry, I have this thing with her books where I read them on trips I go on, and then I associate each Emily Henry book with a different trip, and it just makes them extra special. I just love her books so much that I want to have special memories while I'm reading them, and this could be a good one to bring on my trip. So definitely a great option. Last month I finished the Caraval trilogy, and I'm so excited now to continue on with the spin-off trilogy, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart. The characters in this series are Evangeline. I definitely do not know an Evangeline. I know we have the Prince of Hearts named Jax, which I don't know Jax. So I don't think this will work for this prompt. Just flipping through, it sounds like a lot of fantasy type names. I'm gonna go back to the books that I hauled recently for spring. Forget Me Not. Our characters are Emma, and Elliot. I do not know anyone with those names. Ready or Not, our characters' names are Eve, Shep, it's giving Southern Charm, Willa, don't know anyone with those names personally. Picking Daisies on Sundays, Daniela, and Levi. Don't know anyone with any of these names. These are all kind of like unique names. The Switch by Beth O'Leary, Eileen, and Lena. Don't know anyone with those names either, so I might just stick with Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which I'm not mad about at all. Her latest release, rivals to Lover Story, I guess you would say, but I've heard that the main focus of the book is these two writers trying to win the spot of telling this famous woman's story. And I don't know, I've heard very mixed reviews, but I feel like I often have different favorite Emily Henry books to the majority of people. Like, my favorite Emily Henry book is People We Meet on Vacation, and I know that's a lot of people's least favorite, so it could be that this one works a lot more for me than it has for other people. I've seen a lot of like mid reviews, like 3-star range. I don't think I've seen any 5 stars yet for this book, so I don't know, it could be good for me. It could mean that I absolutely love it and this is a new favorite, but I feel like I want to bring this with me on my trip in true fashion with me and Emily Henry books. I gotta bring her books on a trip with me. So I'm gonna make this one the one that I bring with me on my London trip. Okay, prompt number 5. A book from my 25 books I want to read in 2025 TBR. Alone with You in the Ether and Beautiful World, Where Are You are both on that TBR, but I actually think I know exactly what I want to do when it's on the other side. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber is actually the very first book I have on that TBR, and I have just been waiting to finish the Caraval trilogy, which comes before this series. You kind of get the backstory of the main character in this trilogy. Everyone says you don't have to read the Caraval series beforehand, but I just wanted to get the background and know everything to be able to fully enjoy this. But I've heard people love this even more than the Caraval trilogy, which I adored, so I'm hoping to love this series even more. Maybe it'll be a 5-star read for me. I'm hoping, because I know it has been the case for a lot of people who I have similar book taste to. I feel like it's been such a long time coming for me to read these books, and I cannot wait to finally do it. Finally, last month I finished Finale, so I'm ready to begin this series. And I feel like it's perfect timing too, because this book just feels very whimsical and fairy tale to me, which gives me springtime vibes. So I feel like now is the best time to read it, and I cannot wait. Okay, prompt number 6, final prompt. I really hope I get a prompt that I have never drawn before. I feel like there's quite a few in here that I made that I still haven't picked. I'm gonna try to go for the bottom. Oop, a few fell out, but I'm gonna pick this one. Main character has a sister. Okay, that is one I have not drawn before. Okay, pardon another interruption, but I was like talking for a solid 5 minutes before I realized that I ran out of memory on my SD card, and I pulled 2 options. The first one is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. Obviously, Sisters is in the title of the book, and what we're following is sister relationships, so this would be perfect. But the book that I think I actually might go with that fits the prompt is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. If you know, you know. Based on where this book left off last, I have so many questions and I need them answered. And I've been putting this one off, and I know it's been on so many TBRs, but I feel very motivated to read it in May because I'm currently reading Jess's latest release, The Conditions of Will, and really enjoying it. And it's reminding me how much I love Jess's writing and how much I want to be in her worlds that she creates. Also, I feel like this setting so fitting for my trip. These characters are just like iconic, all the London vibes. I feel like all those things will motivate me to read it, and it fits the prompt very well. And one of the main reasons I feel I've been putting it off is because I'm scared. I feel like this book is gonna have so much pain, but I feel like it's gonna answer a lot of questions, and I am ready to get answers. And although I'm gonna be sad for Magnolia and BJ's story to come to an end, we still have more to come from Daisy's books, which she is definitely my favorite character of this universe. So I think I'm gonna make this the book that I pick for the prompt of a main character with a sister, and I'm hoping finally that May is the month I actually get this book read and off the TBR card. So the 6 books on my May TBR are Magnolia Park's Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, Emma of 83rd Street by Audrey Beleza and Emily Harding, Persuasion by Jane Austen, and The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson. I feel like we have a great TBR for the month of May. Definitely fits all the vibes I was wanting. We have the spring vibes, we have the London vibes. I am so excited. It's going to be a great reading month. I did a pretty good job of sticking to my TBR last month, and I'm feeling just very motivated to keep plugging along, keep knocking books off my TBR. So I'm very motivated, very excited for this upcoming month of reading, and just in general, it's going to be a great month. I hope you guys have a great reading month as well. As always, let me know what you're planning to read for the month of May. If you've read any of the books that I read, tell me all your thoughts on them. If you think I should prioritize anything, if there's anything you'd love to see in a reading vlog, let me know everything down below. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments. If you still like watching the TBR jar help me pick out my reads, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit the red button down below to stick around. I would love to have you guys here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys so soon in my next one. Bye guys.